You're watching HuffPost Live. I'm Nancy Red, and the 2014 Olympics in Sochi brought together the world's most celebrated and talented athletes. But the Games also shed a spotlight on Russia's strict anti-gay laws. Figure skater turned broadcaster Johnny Weir was the voice of the Games as a commentator for NBC and witnessed the divisiveness firsthand and shares it as the executive producer of the new Epics documentary, To Russia with Love. Let's take a look.
Russia's new law banning propaganda of non-traditional sexual relations to minors has created an international backlash.
It's taken a long time, but I do feel like Sochi is a bit of a tipping point.
It matters to you that your Olympics is going to be in a country that thinks of you not as a real part of society.
You can take it quite personally.
We should have kissed. I think that would have been a very big history-making sort of thing.
They attack me every evening.
This could have been the raised fist in protest.
An Olympic flame isn't going to change the world. You have to change the world yourself.
Johnny joins us now. Welcome to our couch.
Thank you very much. I love the distressed leather that's happening right here under my butt.
Absolutely. There's a lot of leather going on this couch,
Yes.
Not just from the couch. And we are glad that you're here to discuss a very serious topic and something that you're very passionate about. How did this film come about?
Well, last summer, there was so much going on. Western media was blowing up about Russia's anti-gay laws and the upcoming Olympics. And me being very much a Russophile, somebody that loves Russia, an Olympian and a gay man, I kind of got thrown into the mix of all this. And I didn't really ask for it. I was just put there because I ticked off all the little boxes. And it was very hard. There was so much opposition from so many sides. And I always saw this issue as the show must go on. The Olympics have to go on. I was one of those athletes that dedicated my entire life to that one performance. Why should we boycott because somebody says we should? In the meantime, there were activists that were very against my stance. There were people very against the Olympics, and I wanted a film to come about that would capture all sides of this. Yes, there's so much terrible stuff happening in Russia right now against the LGBT community, and it's a very tense and very scary time for Russian members of the LGBT community. But at the same time, there are people that have a voice and that have ambition to change things, and there are activists from Russia that are fighting the fight every day there. There are people that have left Russia seeking asylum in the United States. My stance as an athlete, I know you're trying to interrupt me, but this film really encompasses every stance that there possibly could be about this issue and why each one is valid and why each one has value.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, and I was just agreeing with you. That's what I think is really great about the film. It shows so many different standpoints. And again, the title is legitimate, To Russia with Love. You love Russia. In fact, you just got back from there yesterday.
Yes.
One of the things that many people are curious about is when you were going to Sochi in the middle of this, how did Russia embrace you?
I've always had a very happy following of people in Russia that supported me as an athlete. Figure skating is pretty much football there. They've got hockey, they've got figure skating. Those are the sports that are so well respected in Russia, and I've always been respected as an athlete. Going to Russia as a well-known person is very different than going for the average person or a Russian citizen. I'm treated very well, I stay in the best places, and I have a very rosy image of what Russia means to me. However, I have seen a lot of the underbelly of Russia, and I travel there a lot. And I've never felt unsafe. I've never felt bad about myself. I still carry my man bag. I am myself. And that, I think, is the strongest statement that I could ever make, and one that I tried to make in Sochi. I wasn't afraid of somebody attacking me or arresting me in any way, because the greatest stance that I could ever make as a gay person in our fight globally for equality is being myself. And that's something that I don't stray from no matter where I go. And you know, one of the most interesting things happened in Russia this last time, just a few days ago in Moscow. And I was out with some friends and I was shopping, and I was in a big mall, and I was actually shopping for bathing suits, oddly enough, right after the first snow of Moscow. And a man came up to me in one of the stores and asked for a photo with me, and he introduced me to his husband. And I thought, wow, how progressive, how amazing, how wonderful that there are these people in the country that we only see the worst news possible living in the United States. How amazing that he has the strength of character to walk around this suburban Moscow mall with his husband and introduce him as his husband to me. I just thought it was the most amazing thing.
And it's been a journey. I mean, maybe 10 years ago he couldn't have done that. And interestingly enough, the relationship of you and you being yourself in your context can help that and allow that. You mentioned earlier, as a respected athlete, your journey is different. We have a viewer who actually has a question surrounding that. Hi, Johnny. You've said before, says Aaron, that in Russia you're seen primarily as a respected athlete. Do you think it's easier for Russia to accept gay athletes, artists, dancers, rather than ordinary gay Russians? Like the sport/art is culturally respected enough to trump focus on sexuality?
Yes, yeah. I certainly think, and I mean, even in the United States, we do the same thing where if somebody is well respected for being a great reporter for CNN, an Olympic athlete, a great singer, living La Vida Loca, people are more accepted when they have a talent. And that doesn't just go for gay people, it goes for everyone, as I see it. And if you make something of yourself and you want people to respect that, they do. It's when things get right in your face and when things are really aggressive to you that you come up with a very anti-feeling about them. And I myself, in the film, I call a group of activists that were that were protesting a speech I was giving, I call them idiots while I was speaking. And it was a terrible mistake because I'm not that guy, but through this process and for the entire summer of 2013, I was dealing with this every day, and all I wanted to do was train and focus, and I was still training for the Olympics before I decided to retire and before I became an NBC commentator. I was still preparing, and all I wanted to do was prepare. And I was getting thrown this way every day, and I could never do the right thing, and I wanted that story to be heard in this film as well. And I wanted to be respected for my stance, and for my stance that I'm working hard to be normal and to show that I'm a normal person and fight for equality my way. Why would you put something else on my plate? And people have their own mentality, and people react to things as they want to. It's very rare that you have an opportunity to open up your own mind. And through filming this documentary, I was able to open my own mind, especially to the world of activism, because while it's something that I don't feel in myself that I can do myself, I so respect what people do and what people fight for. And I don't know if I would have gotten that respect without filming this documentary, because I was able to meet them from all spectrums.
And one of the people you met was absolutely incredible. While in Sochi, he had the opportunity to meet a young activist who shared with Johnny the experience of the LGBTQ community in Russia. Let's take a look.
Середина 10 класса, и тогда мне сделали аутинг на весь класс. Я шел в коридоре, в меня плевались, пытались даже там пнуть, убежать, в меня бросали камни. Я вообще ужасное состояние у меня. Сегодня подошла замдиректора по воспитательной работе и на ухо нашептала: допрыгался, вот посмотришь на свои оценки в аттестате, гомик. Я не представляю, что будет дальше.
No matter how often you see this clip, it's still terrifying. I mean, it's giving you a perspective that you didn't have. How did meeting Vlad change your perspective?
It was so unexpected for me. I met Vlad while we were in Sochi. I was working for NBC as a commentator, and I was there in that role. But by chance, I was able to meet Vlad and his story. And of course, I knew that things were bad, and of course, I knew that things were terrible for members of my community and people like me in Russia. But because of my love of the country, I still put on rose glasses about it. And this was somebody sitting across from me, telling me all of these terrible things that had happened to him. And it was real life. It wasn't CNN reporting on what happened to a gay Russian teen. This was a gay Russian teen that was affected and was sitting right in front of me telling me the story. And that was so effective and heartbreaking, and totally changed my sense of responsibility. Again, it did not make me an activist. It did not make me able to fight. But the whole time when all of this has been going on against me or my views in the American media, we were secretly filming this documentary because I wanted people to see that I do pull my weight and I do my part as much as I feel I can. And meeting Vlad was the turning point in this whole project to me. It wasn't just making a story about how gay athletes are preparing for a Russian Olympics in a country that doesn't consider them citizens or equal in any way. It became a story about equality. It became a story about rights. It became a story about how even the smallest thing can affect a person. And for me, Vlad's talk with me and his seeking asylum in the United States were the things that I'll never forget about this documentary.
That's the beauty of it. We can't see from this clip, but his story is a happy one. He now is in the United States,
yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes, and that's just one of the great things. And I think you're selling yourself short here. Because you say, did not turn me into an activist. But as you know, we circle around it, activism comes in many different forms. In some ways, just being yourself is is being an activist. Because even in figure skating, was there ever any pressure when you first started, to not be yourself? I mean, I'm sure you had many people saying to you, "Hey,
tone it down.
Don't know about this, dude." Like,
you know what? People are aggressive. By nature, we fight, and by nature, we fight for our right, and we fight for what we believe in and to live our lives. Yes, I was called many awful things in high school. Yes, when I was trying to move up in the world of figure skating, I was told to kind of strengthen my wrists a bit because they were too limp and too artistic, and my costumes were wrong, my hair was wrong. I mean, even now, there was somebody downstairs from one of the rags, and I was wearing a mask because I'm very concerned that I'm going to get sick before my first weekend of commentary, and he was like, what's with the mask? I just don't want a cold. And every day we are greeted with something that we're greeted with people that don't really understand us and don't really understand what we're trying to achieve in this world. And my dear friend actually said it best. She says, "Johnny, you practice passive activism. You just are you live your life, and that's what you're about. But by doing that, you can give other people strength." And I don't think of it as that way. I don't pat myself on the back in that respect. I do really want to live a happy life. And if there's some way that I can help my community, whether that is LGBT, whether that's white, whether that's men, whether that's figure skaters, whatever it may be, whatever group I'm associated with, I hope that living a life with integrity and strength can empower somebody else to live their truth and live their life.
One of the things that is always a concern when doing something like this, even though it's with the best of intentions, you profess your love for Russia, you just got back from Russia, is how will it be seen by the individuals you're kind of opening up scars and opening up wounds regarding? We have a question here from a viewer, Laura. Is Johnny concerned about how he will be received in Russia after the documentary airs? No. I continue to and have always professed my love for the culture and the people of Russia. I'm not a politician, so for me to get into politics is silly. I'll shoot myself in the foot if I even start talking about it. There's inequality in my own country, and I've been very vocal about that. And nobody, in a state delegation from the Deep South, where I'm still not equal to the rest of the public, nobody's come to get me. And I don't think it'll be any different in Russia. I think this is just something that I've done. This is something that I've been a part of. And this is a conversation that needs to be had. Well, and interestingly enough, when that question came up, I couldn't help but think about one of the things you say in the film is the hardest thing, you're not thinking about these other people, is pleasing the gay community.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you mean by that?
I think whenever you're a part of a community, I mean, not to make an extreme comparison, but just sort of to do a comparison, it's almost as if, there's a stigma if an African-American actress dates a white guy. People have issues with that. If I were to turn around and marry a woman, people from my community would have issues with that, even though it would all be about love and partnership and that sort of thing. So there are all sorts of things that make us uncomfortable in this world, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of any of that or what my life is supposed to be or what it's supposed to mean. There are some fears about people that may take things too far, but in general, I don't care. There are stories that need to be told. There are things that I need to do with my life to make me happy. And if people have umbrage with it, then they can directly ask me.
And then you can just talk to the hand.
Exactly. I mean, life's too short. Life's too short, and there's no way that you can please everyone.
It's true, and you were talking about partnerships, you were talking about love, and it doesn't necessarily mean romantic, because there's no better partnership than you and Tara. And so you worked along Tara Lipinski, and you created quite the partnership. Now, she was here in the run-up to the games, and she talked about working with you. Let's take a look.
And it really has been the best thing ever. Obviously, I've known Johnny through both of our careers, but it's different when you actually get into the booth with that person, and if the chemistry is there or it's not. And we have just really bonded, and it's fun because I feel that we can really bring a real, authentic conversation to the viewers.
So cute. What is it about you two that jives so well?
I just have extreme, first of all, we have extreme mutual admiration for each other's talents, our gifts. You know, she'll just send me messages out of the blue when I post my Instagram videos of me practicing. She'll be like, you gave me goosebumps today, thanks. And, you know, I looked up to her when I was skating. She was kind of the generation just before my generation in competitive skating. And I always admired her so. And to be able to do what she did at you know, 15 years old, to win the Olympics, it's pretty insane. So we have that mutual respect, and we have, you know, our accolades and things, but at the end of the day, we sit in a big bed and we eat Hershey bars and goldfish and gossip like anyone.
This sounds like my dream. I wish there was space for just a figure skating fan in that bed with the Hershey Kisses.
No, the thing is, we have room for everyone, and we both are so balanced in a way that she'll keep me up until 3 a.m. studying pronunciations of names, coaches, where people come from, what they're doing in their personal lives, and I get her ready to go on stage. We coordinate outfits. I work on her hair. So you are
the beauty and she is the brains.
I think we're both pretty smart, but you know, it's a gift from God that I can work with somebody that I love so much. And being figure skaters, it's very individualistic. It's very cutthroat. The black swan has nothing on the world that we come from. So to find somebody that you can trust wholeheartedly, with everything that goes on in your life, it's truly rare, and I'm so thankful for it.
And that trust is about to continue. Tell us about your new partnership, your new official announcement.
Well, we're having a baby.
Oh, it's going to be an NBC commentator, baby.
Yes. No, we just announced today that we're going to be, and NBC did as well, that we'll be the new head figure skating correspondents for the Pyeongchang Olympics in 2018, and of course we're covering all figure skating. Our first gig as the #1 team is this Sunday for Skate America, part of the Grand Prix series of figure skating, and we're so excited to bring our sport into people's living rooms and have fun with it. It's not all about the rules and the scores and things like that. There's pageantry, there's fun, and we so appreciate and can be on the same level as the people we're talking about because we were there, we did it. Everything that they go through on camera is something we've been through, so we can talk very knowledgeably about it. And I mean, we are so honored and so proud, and oh, everything is happening.
Everything is happening, and it's just another platform for people to be able to see your documentary, get more information, enjoy the sport, and learn more about the history of it. Now, we've got someone here who could not wait to talk to you. Joining via webcam, we have Deborah Riccio. Hi, Deborah. How are you?
Hi.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be joining you. How are you?
Wonderful. This is so modern for me, this whole Skype, FaceTimey business that goes on. I'm very much like the person that chicken pecks their iPhone, hoping that it'll work.
That's
but
okay.
Anyway, I'm glad you're here.
Well, first let me say, I heard your announcement early this morning on the 2018 Olympics, and congratulations on that in your documentary. I wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
I know you have a question, Deborah. What might it be?
Where'd she go?
All right, she's frozen. I think she's so giddy.
For you this morning, if I may, I'm very eclectic. I'm sorry.
Go for it, sister.
Oh, yes, we got you again.
My first question is, you have a very eclectic style, and I was wondering what inspires your fashion statements? What encourages you? What do you see when you design your fashions and fashions for others?
Well, I like to feel beautiful, and I like to tell a story. If it's about my mood, if it's about my size at the moment, I like to tell a story with what I've got on. I mean, this morning I was super over-the-top dynasty, and right now I'm very mod alien. And I love that I can be both those things in one day. So I love to play with fashion. I so celebrate the art in the fashion world. I'm more of a collector than a consumer, I suppose I could say. And with my figure skating costumes, it's a costume. It's something that creates that moment. It creates the image, whether it's for myself or somebody I'm designing for. It's about having that photograph up on the wall of you with your Olympic gold medal, and 30 years from now, you can remember every scent, every piece of music, every moment of that day that took you to get that medal, and the years leading up to it. Fashion to me isn't just clothing. It isn't just putting something on to be outrageous or crazy or to play with people's imaginations. It's your memories, it's your life. So that's where I get it from.
Well, and for you, again, in some ways, it's not just passive activism. In some way, fashion was a form of activism for you. You might not have known it when you began.
Well, my pink blazer in Sochi went gangbusters back here, and you know, I literally had Vladimir Putin sitting like behind me in a box in a booth, and I'm sitting there in a pink vintage Chanel blazer, and then that blazer, it took on sort of a life of its own, and I really that day was just like, okay, Tara, we're going to wear pink today. It wasn't like, I know Vladimir is going to be sitting behind me and I'm going to wear pink. It was me putting on a beautiful blazer, and I'm glad that people saw something more than I did in it, but I put on clothes. There's a whole lot more to me than a pink blazer, and I think with fashionistas and people that are very fashion forward and known for their fashion, it's easy to forget that they are more than a pink blazer.
I'm glad that you have this documentary to help us remember and to learn a little bit. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, and everyone out there, please watch this documentary, To Russia with Love, next Wednesday, October 29th at 8 p.m. only on Epix HD.
All right, well, thank you for wrapping it up for me. You
I
can tell who's the pro.
Thank you so much for having me,
Thank
really.
you, and thank all of you for watching. Again, just like you said, for more in Russia with Love, check out our research well below this video screen, and stay tuned because the conversation always continues here at HuffPost Live.